This video was inspired by the TV series Alien Earth, episode 3 in particular. Spoiler alert. I will be explaining how this particular episode exposes how the program is able to brainwash strangers, friends, and family into being complicit in your targeting. The movie is called Alien Earth. With these movies, they usually tell you what it is in the title. Gangstalking can be real alien, but if you watch the series, it's more about something being parasitic. There are parasites on Earth. We see them every day, not necessarily as aliens, but are parasitic like one. This movie represents how we tend to harbor parasites. There are some groups that protect narcissists, criminals like psychopaths, sociopaths, like freight. They get provided shelter, protection, they receive gifts and accommodation. See, I was trying to find the right word that described this movie and gangstalking, but harbor is the perfect example for both. Now, harbor can mean two things, and I want you to keep this in mind because it is very important when discussing about this movie and gangstalking. Number one, to keep a thought or feeling, typically a negative one, in one's mind, especially secretly. Number two, to shelter or hide a criminal or wanted person. Both you may have seen or experienced this while being targeted. People having ill intent towards you in secret, and the criminals being given a place of shelter and protection. So you got these hybrid androids with a human consciousness and a synthetic body that work for this corporation that go by the name of Prodigy. To make a long story short, to prove a point, they were sent on a mission to harbor an alien. And you have another android hybrid who go by the name of Morrow. And I'm going to tell you what his name mean in a second. But Morrow comes from another corporation who is tasked with returning them. Now, Morrow successfully manipulates one of Prodigy's hybrid android into accomplishing his goal. Now, how he does it? This is where I will begin to explain how this particular episode directly shows you how people become complacent in your targeting and how it is done. Now, Morrow means mourning, which is really meant for mourn. As you can see, it say morgue, because if you accept the deal, then surely you will die, you will suffer. As you can see again, it say morning sleep. You will suffer from morning to sleep, just as the synthetic did when he decided to listen to Morrow. Now, anyone can be a Morrow, right? The program is a Morrow. So keep that in mind. Now, Morrow conducted synthetic telepathy. He spoke to him in his head, what we know as V2K, right? So he contacted that synthetic android, and he studied and picked his mind of this particular synthetic, just as the program do. Psychological evaluation is on everyone. So he wanted to recruit this person into helping him accomplish his goal, right? So the program, they usually know who they are dealing with, right? They never just make offers with just anyone. They did their research on this particular person. So what this is hinting at so far is that it's a possibility that your perpetrators are receiving V2K from some unknown entity at a remote place. Now, keep in mind that Morrow wants something from him, and how he goes about it is through manipulation, because the corporation he's owned by is heavily guarded. So slowly, day by day, he prods and picks his mind, looking for weaknesses, acting like a friend to him. Now, also keep in mind that this particular synthetic is but a child transferred into an adult body, and Morrow is an adult, a father transferred into an android. So he has children and experience with how to handle a child, right? He has children of his own, and he know how to exploit that and gets what he want. Now, this is a similar case for gangstalking because a lot of our perpetrators would be considered grown children. You ever notice how the people of the past actually look like adults compared to now the adults look like children? So there are so many similarities I found between how moral use of manipulation to get what he want and how the program uses its handlers to exploit and instruct its victims to get what they want. Now, Morrow, right, to gain this synthetic trust, he constantly pushed the narrative that can he be his friend and that he is his friend, he is there to help him. Can he help him? Because he know that this synthetic valued friendship. Now, the lesson in all of this is that not everyone is your friend. And as you can see with this program, there's a lot of manipulation and exploitation going on both sides. You don't know who to trust. You really can't trust no one. So he agreed upon being Morrow's friend and to help him. And as his name describes, right? Morrow meaning mourning and suffer from morning to sleep. Same way when people decide to take the offer of this program, it might look good at first, but they suffer more than we do in wake and silence and in sleep because what they do don't bring happiness. The concept of reaping what you sow, that's talked about in the Bible, that negative actions lead to negative consequences. So after accepting Morrow's request, he get met with someone who teaches him a lesson about blind loyalty.
Do you know why there are 3 monkeys on your wall? What? Mizaru sees no evil. Kikazaru hears no evil. Iwazaru speaks no evil. They're figures in Buddhist teaching about avoiding evil thoughts and deeds, but over the years they've come to represent something else. Do you know what that is?
No.
If I did something evil, would you report me? If I hurt or caused others to be hurt, would you do something to stop me, or would you look the other way?
What a coincidence, right? Oftentimes we see signs or hear or receive a message that falls on deaf ears. But this particular message was for him, as it is meant for the gangstalkers also, right? This explanation tells you how when people are recruited, they basically live a life of voluntarily ignorance. They volunteer for it. They volunteer to be ignorant to what is happening. They turn a blind eye on purpose, right? They turn a blind eye out of their behavior. They turn a blind eye to their children's behavior. This is why a lot of their children be like loose cannons. Like, they end up hurting themselves, killing someone because they turn a blind eye. They're told and instructed to not look and lead them to their demise in a way. So they don't have to, it's like secondhand abuse, not firsthand. They're indirectly doing the bad things they're doing, and some of them, they'll leave their child with a known pedophile. They know their child is being molested, but they turn a blind eye and be like, well, I didn't know what was going on and stuff. And they know exactly what's going on. But why they do that? Because they see no evil and speak no evil, which means they are complacent. They are complicit. So now he's conflicted upon hearing the truth and how it relates to his circumstances. And I can't help but notice how similar this is with the program and how it sends people bad thoughts, right? So this is how they go about it. They send people bad thoughts that's looked at as intrusive thoughts. So they are people's intrusive thoughts. People are not aware of their thoughts potentially not being their own. So they become influenced they wonder like, why is I'm thinking these things and stuff like that. They put the blame on themselves. It's manipulation. So they're sending people bad thoughts that they know and program inside of people's head, then approach them as the savior with a solution, and they normally accept because they're tired of feeling bad about themselves. So they become desperate to seek a way out, and they end up accepting a deal from the devil himself. So if they're programming, like, let's say, for example, you are nothing, no one likes you, and they've been programming these thoughts into an individual for a long time, and then they approach this person like, hey, you look like you need help, like you've been feeling like people don't love you and all that, and they be like, how you know? And you're like, look, I'm here for you. God put it in my mind to help you. And then they play God sometimes. They use reverse psychology. They play God in people's life, talking about, well, God is doing this when it's really them. This is how sinister it is. So now what ends up happening with the people who participate, they are told, if you do this, then you do a good thing, and then the voices will go away that they are projecting. They're basically saying, like, if you do this good thing for me, then the voices will stop. I will stop projecting it into them. So, they don't tell it up front, and it stops. So the program becomes like therapy or medication for them to take to not feel bad anymore, when they are the ones inducing it, but they don't know. So now they end up doing evil to others, or watching evil be done to others, believing that they are doing wonderful things. They figure out that they still don't feel good. They think maybe it's because they're not trying hard enough. So they double down and do more wickedness to feel better. But what they are actually doing is pleasing their handler. It's brainwashing. So over time, what happens is all the evil that's being done, all the evil that's that they do, right? It begins to eat them up inside, and they begin to be dead inside for real because of the burden. It's like going to war, having to watch your fellow friend or family die or be sacrificed and feel powerless to do something about it. And if they do something like about it, they get threatened or scared straight. Like Morrow did the synthetic. Once he started to backslide on his deal, he held his mother hostage in a subtle and indirect way, letting him know, I know where your mother stay. See, with them, disobedience is met with consequences. When they don't follow orders, they talk into their heads, literally, and be their own intrusive thoughts. They traumatize them, install fear in them, and even sabotage them if needed. They make it so they are isolated themselves, that they can't rely on anyone but the program. They do what they do to us, but at least we can rely on God or do our own thing. But they be isolated. They be set up in a way where they can't go to no one else but the program, right? The program is their whole life. That's all they know. When people harbor parasites and think they can direct the parasite, or be complicit and be on the safe side, that everything will be okay. But what they don't realize is a parasite consumes everything, because they know their time is short. So they operate off of scarcity, and they consume everything and everyone around it, friend or foe. When you lack accountability, you spend more time harming than you do healing.
You're complicit in a genocide! You're complicit in a genocide!
It is an honor to
United States government
All right.
is complicit in genocide.
Hang on just a second.
You have an obligation to the Constitution of the United States.
Off to jail.
Disabled veterans.
There's a genocide! There's a genocide!
You are all complicit in genocide.
Ma'am, you're not allowed to film in here. We told you this earlier.
You're complicit in a genocide! You're complicit in a genocide! Eddie, there's a genocide! Eddie, there's a genocide! Come on, Eddie! There's a genocide! You're complicit in genocide of the Palestinian people! You are complicit. Come on, Eddie. Eddie, help us. Eddie, help us save them. Come on, Eddie. The Israeli terrorists are committing a genocide, and the U.S. Congress and Senate are complicit in funding the bombs that are forcing children to be slaughtered and massacred. Shame on this government. The United States of America is complicit in genocide. The Israeli terrorists are starving children.
If they'll arrest veterans, they'll arrest you.
Stop the bombs! Stop the bombs!
Arresting us for speaking out against genocide.
Stop the bombs!
The U.S.
Stop
Congress
the bombs!
is paying for the
Stop
death of children,
slaughtering babies!
women and children.
Stop slaughtering babies!
When the United States Congress comes after veterans, they will come after you. Every American sitting at home right now needs to realize that you are paying for a genocide.
Rise up, America!
So if you see what is going on with Israel, what they're doing to Gaza is genocide. And America is supporting it. So what that tells you, America is a parasite. So what do you think is going to happen if the parasite affect the host in the very land that we live on it? The people become sick. And you wonder why in America citizens gangstalk each other when America supports genocide and are conducting genocide even on its own people. So it comes to no wonder, right? It comes to no wonder. But America is a parasite. So the land is affected. Right? This episode demonstrated classical conditioning, gangstalking, and the method of brainwashing that takes place in it.
This country is making you weak. This is for the kids. This is for the teenagers. This is for the groups. You understand? The youngsters. This country is making you weak, man. They're making it so that you can't stand on your own. They think shit is funny. But the bad part is, as anything does happen, you'll never know it. And the bad part is even worse, you won't want to know it. That's even worse. You won't want to know when the shit hits the fan. Because you'll know in your heart of hearts that you're not prepared to deal with it. I'm going to give you something personal. I got an 8-year-old grandson. This man ain't got 10 minutes worth of wind of running in his own front yard. If any of you guys like that, you ain't ready. Listen, man. As a targeted individual, this is my official public announcement. I am a political prisoner of a country, realm, or place in which is torturing me without purpose and cause. So, while one may laugh, when one is tortured and treated unfairly in a place that supposedly has rights, then regardless of citizenship or not, I am a political prisoner of these here so-called United States. I am being treated unfairly. I invoke my human rights and ask that I be treated accordingly. In other words, I want Geneva notified that the United States has declared war on its citizens, and I am a prisoner of that war with human rights, or whatever I am, being violated.